One feature implemented by many software systems, including Windows' own Active Directory, is account lockout. And the idea is that when someone has provided an incorrect password a certain number of times within a certain time frame, the account is automatically locked out. That means future password attempts aren't even analyzed. The account is locked out and cannot be used. The idea is to simply prevent unlimited attempts at password guessing, but it is possible, especially with an aggressive lockout policy, to lock out users who make frequent mistakes or forget a new password. For example, if you require your users to change their passwords quite frequently, it's much easier for them to forget the latest password and accidentally type an old one, much as when the year turns over, everybody's still writing the old year on their checks because they haven't quite gotten to the new one yet. It's also possible for users who work in specific type of software applications to frequently mess up their passwords. For example, users who work in systems that require the keyboard's caps lock key to be on and usually type in all uppercase letters all day long might do that same thing when they're typing their password, and that is one reason that users can lock themselves out. You can configure lockout to automatically expire after a set time, such as after 24 hours, or you can configure lockout to remain in place until the user's account is manually unlocked. Let's take a look at how that's managed. I've opened the Group Policy Management console on a domain controller, and I'm going to configure account lockout in a group policy object. Many organizations choose the same account lockout policy for their entire organization, and so this setting would be created in the default domain policy. This is one that applies to all computers, and that way it applies to every single computer, not just servers, but also to client computers. If you just wanted this to apply to Active Directory, you might edit it in the default domain controllers policy instead. So let's just pop one of these open. They all look the same to start with. We'll find this under Policies, Windows Settings, Security Settings, and Account Policies. We'll see here that we do have an account lockout policy, so let's take a look at that. It says that none of this is defined, which means we do not currently automatically lock out accounts. So let's go ahead and reset this. We're going to define this as locking a user out after just 3 invalid logon attempts. We're going to allow that to last for the defaults. Here's what will happen. You can see that by configuring a portion of this policy, Windows has automatically provided default values for the rest. So once someone is locked out, let's set this to 60 minutes instead of 30 minutes. And we can automatically reset the account lockout counter after 30 minutes. And what that means is if I provide 2 bad password attempts and then wait 30 minutes, the counter will reset. I'll have 3 more attempts to go after because I didn't actually lock out the account. So this can be configured, again, for member computers in a domain as well as for all of the domain controllers. It's frequent that organizations will really focus on configuring this for their domain controllers in the default domain controllers policy, simply because that's where most users are logging on most of the time, Active Directory. Since the domain controllers run Active Directory, configuring this policy for them configures it for Active Directory.